Hello, listeners. This is Janine
and Kristen
from Henrico Casa. You are listening to our podcast, Vigilant Voices. Living life every day. Hello, listeners. A warm welcome from Kristen and I to another Vigilant Voices conversation.
Yes, we're always happy to have you with us because we know that you, like us, want to know more about the challenges facing children and families so that we can all ensure no child faces continued abuse or neglect.
Yes, and we are coming off a little bit of a high this month.
We are.
Because we have just had the fun of celebrating Henrico Casa's 30th anniversary.
Oh my gosh, it's such a milestone, and we're so proud of the history of our organization.
Yeah.
But also of the work we do, day in and day out, and the legacy we've built of serving 100% of the children who are referred to us.
This is what I am probably most proud of. Mm-hmm. We have never once turned a child away.
It's amazing.
It is amazing. And, what that looks like is we have accepted every single case referred to us by Henrico's Juvenile and Domestic Relations Court judges. And that's amazing to have met that need. Mm-hmm. And, as we've celebrated 30 years and we look forward to the next 30 years, we are committed to continuing to do so.
Yeah. And we've been able to serve all of these children thanks to our volunteer advocates, our donors, our partners, our supporters, and that includes you, listener. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. And because we're still on the high of the fun event, we had this little celebration earlier this month and invited Ashley Rhodes Corder to be the keynote speaker. And we were just really moved by how she used and frankly uses every day her personal story to inspire, motivate, and empower all of us in the room. Mm-hmm. And so we wanted to actually take that to you, listener, and share a bit of that experience with you.
Yeah. So we thought we would tell you a little bit about Ashley, about the words she shared with us. And our hope is that you would feel just as emboldened as Ashley is to kind of reflect on your own story and use it to influence others.
Yeah. And so before we go further, we'll give you that little bio on, Ashley in case you've not heard of her or her really, truly amazing story. And so Ashley is the best-selling author of 3 Little Words and 3 More Words.
Yes. And those books are how we first learned about her.
Right.
Both of the books are part of our CASA library and come highly recommended by our advocates. So I'm going to link to the books in our show notes. Great. I actually read both books in one beach weekend.
Yeah.
Her tone is so conversational, and I just kind of felt like I knew Ashley, and I just couldn't put the books down.
I agree. I love the books, and each chapter, each challenge that Ashley faced, you just kind of wanted to know more, so you just were hooked.
Yeah. And listener, those challenges were kind of wrapped up, or to sum it up, in Ashley's traumatic family history and decade-long, sometimes abusive, experience bouncing around the foster care system.
Yeah, it's really quite a story.
It is.
But she credits her CASA advocate with being the first person to really see her and hear her and know her.
Yeah.
And really, again, she credits that advocate as the person who really intervened and helped Ashley change the direction of her life.
Yeah. And to quote Ashley on her website, she says she turned her challenging past into personal power.
Love that.
And so this video quote goes on to say, now, speaking from the determination and positivity that saved her, she galvanizes others to confront, overcome, and adapt to any obstacle.
Big fan. Love that. I love that. And probably of no surprise, but she then definitely spoke from a place of positivity in this way at our 30th anniversary celebration.
Yeah. And a key part of Ashley's message was that every child deserves to have a caring adult in their life who knows the color of their eyes. And that just pulls at your heart because it's so simple.
So simple.
And I had never thought about that before, but for someone to know the color of your eyes, they have to be with you.
Yeah.
They have to look at you. They have to look into your eyes.
Yeah.
They have to pay attention to you.
Pay attention.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there are so many children out there who do not have someone who cares enough or is able to give them that level of attention. You know, when Ashley shares her story, she says that her files were all wrong. I mean, they, you know, mischaracterized her physical appearance many times, including the color of her eyes, in many ways.
And that just drives home the point that literally no one was seeing her.
No one.
You know, well, until her CASA got involved.
Yeah. And once her CASA was involved, she was then most definitely seen.
Thank goodness.
You know, I mean, we have to recognize everything didn't change immediately or overnight. That's just not how life works. But it was the start of change and her whole path.
Yeah. Yeah. And what I love is that Ashley was able to stay positive, as positive as possible, right? She took her experiences and used them to motivate her to help others. She has since become a licensed clinical social worker, a foster parent, and a biological parent. She's just truly living out a calling.
Yeah, and giving back, I mean, without a doubt. And at the start of her demo video on her website, there are these words.
Okay.
Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. And boy, is she living out that light and love in her life and giving back.
Yeah. And so today, listener, we just wanted to share part of her message with you. So we are going to roll into a recording from the video she has on her website. We'll again link to the full video, not just the audio, in our show notes because it's totally worth watching.
And we hope that you enjoy her words as much as we do. And now here is Ashley Rhodes Quarter.
Well, I have a little bit of an untraditional story, but I think it will really resonate with a lot of you. I spent almost 10 years in foster care. My mother was a teenager living in foster care herself when she got pregnant with me. And unfortunately, after she got into some troubles, as statistics would tell us, it was the cycle of abuse. So my brother and I ended up in foster care, and she turned to the people who gave her food, shelter, housing. Unfortunately, those people were the drug dealers and the pimps and the people who didn't progress her life in a positive way. There is always a way to overcome even the most frustrating circumstances. I was able to find my outlet and my sanctuary in school. I used to say I acted out academically when I would go back into my foster homes and use bigger words than they understood. And I think everybody has a variety of coping mechanisms that they use to get through their daily lives, to get through their struggles. So you have to be able to recognize within yourself, what are you processing? What's affecting you the most? Do that internal inventory to really understand what you need to identify to make yourself more productive. Unfortunately, my mom was never given that guidance. She didn't have anyone to steer her in the right direction. So my brother and I spent over a decade in foster care. I had 14 different foster homes, and I later learned that almost 25% of them were or became convicted felons. Whoopsie tootsies. That's what I would call an operational oversight. I know some of you are like, God, Ashley, way to bring it down. There's a saying that you can never hate someone if you know their story. So even with all of the people in my life that have wronged me, it's been so interesting to understand their stories and their backgrounds and why they're bringing that particular attitude to the table. And sometimes inspiration and that life-turning moment comes when you least expect it. It comes in a really scary package. It comes when you didn't even think that you were ready for it. I was really curious who could have made the biggest difference in my life. So I went through and I started counting all of the supervisors, all of the signatures, all of the different professionals that interacted with my case. And ultimately, it was something like 54 caseworkers, 23 attorneys, 17 psychologists, psychiatrists, and therapists, 5 guardian ad litem staff, 4 judges, 4 court personnel, 3 abuse registry workers, 2 primary caseworkers, and then ultimately, this volunteer. So in the end, this one woman who was the only person not paid to take care of me was the only one who believed me when I said I was being abused. She got me out of those abusive situations and ultimately found me the adopted family that transformed my life. That is the power of one person. I think what's really poignant about all of this is that you may not realize that you're a social worker. You actually have tremendous people skills, social work skills, and these are things that you use in your lives every day. But I'm hoping that my story can really be a reminder of how you are inspiring people to do better, how you are coping with the changes in your professional life and your personal life, and how that translates to the people that you work with, how it inspires your coworkers, how it hopefully motivates you to become a more productive member of society and the workplace. If you're able to really recognize and appreciate that you have an opportunity to make a tremendous difference for at least one person, that's huge. I want to thank you for everything that you have done, are doing, but most importantly, what you will be doing.